Guys, welcome to the part 2 of the today's video. So let's continue where we left off. Yep, let me check the stream once. Let me pull the microphone closer and I guess everything is fine. Nice. So we have to continue from lab 1, I guess. So cell injury and death, cloudy liver. So there are a couple of things we have to study. Some things about liver, kidney, and yeah. So cloudy swelling of both of them, and then hepatic lipidosis, and then kidney lipidosis. Okay. Gross image. Enlarged, pale and soft. Okay. So microscopically the cells are enlarged once again with clear cytoplasm due to the presence of small clear pale vacuoles. Okay. This is quite important. Clear pale vacuoles with indistinct shape and limits. And normal nucleus in the central portion. Blood capillaries are compressed, explaining the organ's pallor. Pallor means we just read using ChatGPT that it's basically pale skin or mucous membrane due to reduced blood flow. Okay, moving on. So let me check the string. So sorry, I'm quite new to this. I just wanted to check. Yeah, so cloudy swelling, increased size of hepatocytes, then granular vacuolated opaque cytoplasm. Sometimes the nuclei are not well seen. Now let's look at kidney. So this is what the liver looks like. Let's look at the kidney one. Epithelial cell swelling, narrow lumen, opaque cytoplasm, protein material in the lumen. Epithelial cell swelling, narrow lumen, opaque cytoplasm, protein material in the lumen, arrow. So these are the protein materials. Let me show you. Okay, these are the protein materials actually. Now once again the lumen is crushed and they are narrow. Lumen is squeezed in. Opaque cytoplasm. Okay. swollen epithelium, opaque granulars, invisible nuclei. D is glomerulus. Okay, where is, okay, this is glomerulus. Okay, C, where is C? Invisible nuclei, sure. Okay, yeah, swollen epithelial cells. Okay, swollen epithelial cells. And B is opaque granular cytoplasm. Okay, swollen, opaque, invisible nuclei. Okay, and then gloom. And yep. So hepatic lipidosis, fatty degeneration of liver and kidney we have to read, right? And yeah, kidney lipidosis, both the lipidoses are given. So yeah, lipidosis, as the name says, lipidosis, the accumulation of lipids in the parenchyma cells. Okay, accumulation of lipids. Okay, so first thing is what, there's accumulation of lipids in the parenchyma cells. Specifically, hepatic lipidosis is common because a lot of lipid is accumulated in the liver parenchymal cells here. And how does that happen? And also this can happen in many other organs as well, but it's very common in liver. Okay, the cause of hepatic lipidosis include mobilization of free fatty acids, abnormal hepatocellular metabolism as well, mobilization of free fatty acids. Okay, grossly they are looking like swollen yellow liver with a greasy texture. Okay. Alter the specific gravity. Okay, so they float in formalin. Okay, so it displays the nucleus to the periphery. Okay. The hepatocellular cytoplasm. Extensive hepatic lipidosis. Okay, you can see a lot of fat filled globules kind of pushing the nucleus on the sides. Hepatocyte filled with well demarcated fat vacuoles. Yep. nucleus is displaced to the side. Yeah. And going to the kidney. Okay, small lipid laden accumulation, small aggregates of lipid laden foamy macrophages in the glomerular tufts. Occasional incidental finding in the dogs. So CAS does has hyperlipoproteinemia, can also have extensive glomerular lipidosis. Yeah. Okay, hyperchylomicronemia, hyperproteinemia, hyperchylomicronemia, arthrosclerosis, xanthogranuloma, numerous parenchymatous organs, including the kidneys. Okay. So, microscopically, glomeruli contain foamy macrophages. Okay, macrophages is a keyword. Foamy macrophages, characteristics of a glomerular lipidosis, as well as increased mesangium and thickened Bowman capsule. So it's a chronic inflammatory disease of the arterial walls. Okay, it can happen anywhere in heart, brain, and the lower extremities, maybe kidney as well, right? So what happens is fatty deposits of cholesterol, calcium, and other substances form as plaques. Okay, and then granuloma. So it's something like a cancer. Okay, benign inflammatory lesions. Okay, benign, yeah, composed of lipid-laden foam cells, xanthoma cells, and immune cells. Can occur in various organs, skin, tendons, soft tissues, gastrointestinal tract, eye, lung. Okay. Lipid-laden foam cells, macrophages. Okay. Woman's capsule. So hyperproteinemia, hypochylomicronemia, atherosclerosis, xanthogranuloma. In these cases, glomerular lipidosis happens, and then foamy macrophages and in the glomerular tufts are seen. Small lipid-laden cells, small aggregates of lipid, and they are found in dogs and cats, and then foamy macrophages, and then thickened Bowman capsule. Okay. So that's nice. And we have cell death by oncotic necrosis. Okay. Okay, let's start with cell death by oncotic necrosis. What does it mean? In this case, it's a irreversible injury, cell injury. Okay, as it says, necrosis is death of tissue. Oncotic means cancerous. They divide uncontrolled manner, I guess. For example, is caused due to hypoxia, ischemia, or direct damage to the cell membranes. Ischemia causes particularly extensive cell injury because of the decreased perfusion results not only an oxygen deficient hypoxia situation but also in the deficiency of glucose and other nutrients. Okay, first of all, oxygen deficit, other nutrients as well, and then accumulation of toxic metabolic products. Morphologic appearance of necrotic cells and tissues. So they will appear gross, pale, friable, pale, soft, and friable. Okay. Sharply demarcated from viable tissue by zone of inflammation. Okay. And then in histology, nuclear changes is pycnosis, nuclear condensation with shrinkage and intense basophilia. Karyorrhexis, karyolysis. Okay. Okay, they have cytoplasm that looks pale and then becomes swollen and then rounded and then detached from the basal membrane or from neighboring cells. Okay. Okay, increased cytoplasmic eosinophilia because of denatured protein and loss of ribosomes. Okay, nuclear changes, pycnosis, karyoexis, karyolysis, nuclear dissolution or loss. So nuclear dissolution or loss. Karyoexis is nuclear fragmentation. Karyolysis, nuclear dissolution, makes sense. Karyohexis, nuclear fragmentation. And then pycnosis, intense basophilia. Okay, intense basophilia and So basophilia, eosinophilia, scariolysis, scariohexis, and then pycnosis is basically shrinkage and increased basophilia. Okay. Ultrastructure, swelling of mitochondria, fragmentation, dilation and fragmentation of endoplasmic reticulum, clumped chromatin, yeah, here karyolysis, folding of nuclear membrane, pale structure of cytoplasm, cytoplasmic pallor, poor visibility of organelles, the cell collapses and shrinks, the organelles are homogeneous. Okay. Dilation and fragmentation, clumped chromatin, folding of nuclear membrane, pale structure of cytoplasm, poorly visualized organelles. The cell collapses and shrinks. So are homogeneous. Coagulative CCS, okay. Necrosis. Now let's go. Okay. In excessive staining of cytoplasm with basic blue dyes such as hematoxylin observed under microscope. Cytoplasm refers to the excessive accumulation of eosinophilic granules in the cytoplasm of certain cells, making them appear pink/red under microscope. Eosinophilic granules making them pink or red. Here, excessive staining, which can give basic blue with basic blue dyes gives hematoxylin observed under maximum. Excessive staining of cytoplasm. Here, accumulation of extensive eosinophilic granules that gives pink or yellow. Okay. Coagulative necrosis, caseous necrosis, liquefactive necrosis, and gangrenous necrosis. Liquefactive and then gangrenous necrosis. Coagulative necrosis, caseous necrosis, liquefactive necrosis, and gangrenous necrosis. Okay, all of them are there. And then necrosis of adipose tissue, how fat cells die, and then apoptosis of cells. Nice. Okay, let me take a quick break and then let's continue back. Okay. Yep. Okay guys, let's continue where we left. So I thought we'll go with cell death and then go from there. Okay. In contrast to necrosis, in which the dying cells swell until literally it bursts. Here the dying cells swell, literally bursts. Condensation and shrinkage. Okay, so cells that are deprived of growth factors, hormonal simulations, and then embryonic development, homeostasis. In order to maintain homeostasis, only you need to kill off the old cells. Okay, involution of organs, atrophied organs. Okay, is a very important phenomena that occurs in the body. Okay, direct. It's like a regulated okay, it is also regulated form of cell death. Yeah, it is a regulated form of cell death that is directed by signaling pathways in response to certain types of injury. Okay, signaling pathways is the one that directs the. Okay, in necrosis what we said is here they condense and then start to shrink. Okay, first they swell up and then it literally bursts or shrinks. Okay, in necrosis it's the other way around. So let's go up. We haven't done necrosis yet, so when we do, we can see about that. Coagulative, caseous, and then liquefactive necrosis, and then gangrenous necrosis. Okay. Okay, what are the triggers of apoptosis? Okay, let's just see the image. Normal cell. Apoptosis is condensation happens. Condensation of chromatin happens here. Membrane blebs form and then they start disintegrating. They're forming apoptic body. And the cellular fragmentation occurs. And then finally phagocytes do phagocytosis. Okay, triggers of apoptosis. Triggers of apoptosis include binding of ligands such as tumor necrotic factor to the cell surface. Okay, cell surface death receptors. I think various stresses or injury from toxins. Growth factors or hormones, DNA damage, or immune mediated injury from cytotoxic T cells or natural killer cells. Let me check the stream. Good. Various stresses and injury also. They can be from toxins. I don't know what is ROS here. And nutrient deprivation and withdrawal of growth factors or hormones, as we saw earlier as well. DNA damage, immune mediated injury from cytotoxic T lymphocytes or natural killer cells. Okay. Okay, it proceeds through an extrinsic pathway, which is by binding of a ligand to the death receptor, or an intrinsic way as well. So extrinsic and intrinsic initiated by mitochondria in response to various stresses. Okay, got it. Almost entails activation of caspases. All the time it tells activation of caspases, and caspases are cysteine proteases that cleave peptides after aspartate residues. Okay, this is something new for us to learn, for me at least. So gas bases are cysteine proteases that cleave after aspartate residues. Okay, how do they all look? Apoptosis. Okay, so they look like this. Huh. So cells, they become condensed and then starts forming apoptotic bodies, and then this will be phagocytosed. Here also they are forming. Okay, here condensation and then apoptotic bodies happens. Yeah, shrunken, condensed, fragmented. Yeah, nice. Yeah, condensation and fragmentation of nucleus. Yeah, pycnosis, karyohexis, blebbing. Contain nuclear organelles. Yeah, condensed cytosol. Phagocytes. Environment. Okay. And they attack phagocytes and then heterophagy, process of cell consuming material from its input. Got it. Okay. Now we have these four and fat stuff, adiposes. Okay, I think we can do the fat one first. How the fat cells die? Nutritional, enzymatic, traumatic, and idiopathic. Okay, nutritional, fat necrosis is here, enzymatic. Let me mark those things. Yeah. So, nutritional, enzymatic, traumatic, and idiopathic. Idiopathic means causes of unknown origin, I guess. So yeah. macular to necrosis. Okay, I'm not sure what is that. When we come to it, we'll go through that. Yeah. So what is nutritional fat necrosis? Okay, here the fat is lined here, I guess. Here. Okay. Okay. Stearitis and yellow fat disease is usually the result of feeding a diet high in unsaturated fatty acids, low in vitamin E or other antioxidants. Yellow fat disease is often seen in carnivores such as cat or mink on a fish-based diet. Okay. Affecting adipose tissue. Affected adipose tissue is firm, nodular and yellow-brown. Okay. Okay, yellow fat. It's also known as yellow fat disease. That's something let's. Steatitis or yellow fat disease. So why is that happening? Diet high in unsaturated fatty acids, low in vitamin E. Or other antioxidants. They are seen in cats based given on a fish-based diet. Cat. Fish are nodular, firm, and yellow or brown. Okay. And let's go to the enzymatic one. Enzymatic necrosis of fat is seen mainly in. Okay, let me check this tree. Everything is good. Nice. Enzymatic fat necrosis. Enzymatic necrosis of fat is seen mainly in a peripancreatic adipose tissue. Okay, that's a important information right there, where it is attributed to the release of lipases from necrotic pancreatic acinar cells. Okay, pancreas is necrotically affected. So pancreas is going through necrosis. So when it goes through necrosis, it releases lipases. That lipases basically affects the peripancreatic, means fat surrounding the pancreas based adipose tissue. Okay. Grossly necrotic adipose tissue becomes firm nodular. It's also the same with off-white chalky deposits as a result of saponification. Microscopically fat necrosis inflammation consists mainly of lipid-laden macrophages. Variable number of neutrophils. Okay. Lipids are removed by solvents during histologic processing. Okay, solvents here in this case. Okay. Oh, they use solvents. Okay, so the cytoplasm of the normal adipocytes is not stained. Okay. Some of the lipids that are not affected is basically removed by during the histological pre-processing using chemicals. So the cytoplasm of normal adipocytes is not stained, whereas necrotic adipocytes tends to have a pale eosinophilic and to amophilic cytoplasm, which is scattered intensely basophilic soap deposits. Wow, this is the chalky white deposits, I think. So the The necrotic adipocytes will look very different. How do they look like? They look pale eosinophilic to amphophilic cytoplasm, scattered intensely basophilic soap deposits. This is how it looks like, enzymatic lipid necrosis. Duodenum, pancreas, pancreatic adipose tissue. Yeah, okay. Raw. Of a dog. Pancreatitis with leakage of lipase and other enzymes cause saponification of necrotic adipose tissue, giving it a chalky off-white appearance. Peripancreatic adipose tissue. This is the peripancreatic adipose tissue. Okay. Bottom, saponification basophilic areas. Okay, here some macrophages and neutrophils. Okay. Eosinophilic. We read it, pale eosinophilic. Intense basophilic. So granular appearance you can see here. Okay, these are the granulations that you can see, especially here as well. That looks eosinophilic, and then here basophilic. Okay. So let's do traumatic fat necrosis. Traumatic. Blunt trauma. Okay. Or chronic pressure. The adipose tissue against bony prominence. Okay, against the bone, such as subcutaneous adipose tissue composed against the sternum. Okay. For recombinant cattle. Okay. Subcutaneous adipose tissue is pressed against the sternum. Ischemia is thought to contribute to this cell injury. Okay. Inflammation and saponification are inconspicuous in this form of fat necrosis. Okay. Blunt trauma causes it. Okay, got it. Now the idiopathic one. Necrosis of abdominal fat in cattle, for example, of idiopathic fat necrosis. This lesion tends to develop in abundant adipose tissue of mesentery and retroperitoneal tissue of overconditioned. Okay, they occur in the abundant adipose tissue present in the mesentery, which is in the GI tract. Mesenteric nodes, lymph nodes are there, surrounding areas, and then retroperitoneal tissue. Okay, the gut cavity. Okay, of overconditioned cows. Idiopathic fat necrosis is encountered in ventral parietal peritoneum of horses. Okay, so the underbelly, the ventral side of the belly part of horses and ponies. Okay, idiopathic fat necrosis. Okay, this is how it looks like. Necrotic fat is mottled by a mixture of areas of saponification and normal adipocytes. The cause of this sporadic condition is unknown. Okay, as the name says, the reason is unknown, and it's seen in overconditioned cows. Okay, sequelae to oncotic necrosis. Cancerous necrotis. Okay. Yeah, inflammatory reaction in most tissues. In central nervous system, inflammatory reaction is slow to develop and consists mainly of an influx of macrophages that become jitter cells. The inflammatory cells in central nervous system, inflammatory reaction is slow to develop Okay, as more and more macrophages come to a specific location, they become Gitter cells, probably accumulation of cells, a clump of excess of white blood cells, in this case macrophages. In most other tissues, a band of hyperemia, hemorrhage and acute inflammation is seen. Okay. They encircle the necrotic tissue and brings leukocytes to the site. Okay, the neutrophils and macrophages phagocytize and lyse the necrotic tissue, converting coagulative to liquefactive and hastening the removal of damaged tissue. Ah. So if there are foreign materials or bone fragments, they resist digestion and form sequestrum. Small cavitations left by liquefactive necrosis may heal without scarring. Heal without scarring. Yeah, it also depends on the regenerative ability. Liver is an organ which highly regenerative capacity. Because of its dual blood supply, is not prone to infarction. Okay. In renal infarcts, lost nephrons are seldom successfully repaired and are usually replaced with a fibrous scar. Okay. Or of course successfully repaired, but they still have a scar in dual blood supply in liver, so it's okay. So from what I can understand, the oncotic necrosis, a lot of WBCs go to the area, for in this case macrophages go there, and it's also mentioned here, I guess, bring leukocytes to the site and causes accumulation, acute inflammation, and then neutrophils and macrophage phagocytize and lyse the necrotic tissue. They eat the cells and lyse the necrotic tissue, and then converting it from coagulative to liquefactive necrosis, then fastly removing the stuff. If there's a foreign material, it won't resist the digestion. Okay. Heal without scarring. Okay, got it. Nice. So gangrenous, liquefactive, caseous, and then coagulative. This is the part that's left. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me take a quick break and come back to you guys. See ya. Okay, guys, so let's finish it off for today. Coagulative necrosis. The first type of necrosis that we are studying. Okay, cytoplasmic proteins get denatured. They cause it opaqueness and intense cytoplasmic eosinophilia. Okay, coagulative necrosis also affects the lysosomal enzymes itself. Wow, okay. The reason is because subsequent cellular acidosis denatures. Okay. Normally, lysosomal enzymes would cause proteolytic disintegration of the entire cell. But as a result of this type of denaturation, proteolytic disintegration of the cell is delayed. Aha, okay. So instead of lysosomes causing the necrosis, proteolytic disintegration, basically the cellular acidosis causes denaturation of the structural protein, just the acidity. And let's recollect some of the stuff from the top. Cytoplasmic proteins, denature of the cytoplasmic proteins, impasse, and opaque and intense cytoplasmic eosinophilia. Opaque and intense. It's a typical early response to hypoxia, ischemia, toxic injury. Okay, okay. This is the reason for it. Okay. So all these three factors cause cellular acidosis, which denatures the structural proteins. Okay. Denaturation is not hindered. Okay. Thus, a cell that has undergone coagulative necrosis has the expected nuclear features of cell death by causes. Yeah, we know, right? Like karyohexis, karyolysis, and pycnosis. Cell death by causes means all these three things. Okay. It can be recognized in liver, kidney, myocardium, and skeletal muscles. Okay. Okay, the cell outlines are still visible, it seems, when it comes to coagulative necrosis. Okay, the cell outlines are still visible. Liver, kidney, myocardium, or skeletal muscles. Cell outlines are still preserved and they preserve the tissue architecture. Okay. They are visible in the light microscope level. Neurons are also neurons also undergo coagulative necrosis before disappearing by lytic necrosis. Okay, grossly how they look is pale tan to grey, often sharply demarcated from a normal color of adjacent viable tissue without apparent crumbling, slugging or liquefaction. Okay. Okay, they don't liquefy, crumble, they still hold the shell shape, and you can see the outer membrane. Okay, so reasons are hypoxia, ischemia, toxic injury, they can cause this, and then they cause severe intense eosinophilia, and then what else? The cell acidosis only denatures it instead of lysosome. Generally, lysosome causes proteolytic disintegration, but in this case, is delayed. Degradation of nucleic acid is not hindered. And cell death by on causes, okay, as is also seen in the nucleus, as the nucleic acids are not in degradation of nucleic acids is not hindered. But how does the nucleus part of the these cells die? Basically by on causes, pycnosis, karyolysis, karyohexis. Okay, they are seen in liver, kidney, myocardium and skeletal muscles. Okay, pale tan to pale gray. Okay. Okay, this is good. Again, coagulative necrosis of kidney. This looks like this. Okay, here the arrow is shown. Okay. And then B, what does B say? Coagulative necrosis of renal tubular epithelial cells, necrotic cells have homogeneous eosinophilic cytoplasm. Okay. I guess these are the ones, eosinophilic cytoplasm. Okay. And pycnosis, karyosis, but faint cell outlines. Okay. Got it. Cell oncosis, that's how they die. And also there you can see the eosinophilic red or red/pink colored granules you can see. Yep. Now see this, and then let me take a quick break. Okay, guys, so let's finish it off. We are almost there. Almost there. So, caseous necrosis. Okay. Caseous necrosis refers to curdled or cheese like gross appearance, okay, of the necrosis. Yeah, it completely loses the cellular function or tissue architecture. Cellular structure or tissue architecture. It completely loses its shapes, unlike the coagulative necrosis which we studied, where the shape is still remaining. And you can see the outer skin in the light microscope. Macroscopically, cessation may appear as a crumbled, granular, laminated yellow-white exudate in the center of a granuloma or a chronic abscess. Okay, surrounding an abscess, crumbled, granular, laminated yellow-white like exudate. That's what gives it curdled cheese-like gross appearance, right? Histologically, the lysis of leukocytes and parenchymal cells. Histologically, lysis of leukocytes, the white blood cells, and the parenchyma cells, the cells of the organ itself, into necrotic tissue. Convert to a necrotic tissue into a granular amorphous eosinophilic substance with basophilic nuclear debris. Okay, eosinophilic substance with a basophilic nuclear debris. Okay, calcification of the necrotic tissue can contribute to basophilic granular appearance. Okay, caseous necrosis is prominent in granular. Okay, this is something very important. Caseous necrosis is prominent in granulomas of bovine tuberculosis. Okay, caused by Mycobacterium bovis, as the name says. The chronic stage of infection results in caseous abscesses in the peripheral and internal lymph nodes or other organs such as lungs. Okay. Curdle or cheese like gross appearance, coagulative necrosis. Macroscopically, cessation appear as a crumbled granular laminated stuff. Okay. Okay, leukocytes and parenchyma converts to necrotic tissue, forming this granular amorphous eosinophilic substance with basophilic nuclear debris. Okay. And caseous necrosis is prominent in granulomas of bovine tuberculosis. And bovine tuberculosis. Okay, the best example where we can see is internal peripheral and internal lymph node and also lungs, because tuberculosis, right? So from that we can guess, right? So this is the structure of a lymph node, how the structure is completely gone, and you can see the cell walls are all disintegrated and it's like a mass of nucleus and the cytoplasmic debris. Yeah, off-white, crumbly white exudate here, right? There. And yeah, liquefactive necrosis. Cells are lysed and necrotic tissue is converted to fluid phase. Okay, as the name says, liquefactive necrosis. This manifestation is typically the final stage of necrosis in parenchyma of brain or spinal cord. This is seen especially in spinal cord and the brain because of lack of fibrous intestine, because these cells do not have any kind of fibrous interstitial structures within the cells, so basically they just melt away after the final stage of necrosis. They cannot uphold the tissue structure, and they are rich in lipids and lytic enzymes. Neurons are mostly susceptible here, especially from hypoxia and ischemia. They develop from coagulative necrosis. They start with coagulative necrosis and slowly become liquefative necrosis, especially in brain and spinal cord, because their parenchyma doesn't have a fibrous interstitium, and also they are rich in lipid and lytic substances. Yep, here you can see the brain where they become liquefied, as the arrows point out. With time, however, the glial cells undergo necrosis and liquefaction of the neuropile begins. And liquefaction also continues with the arrival of macrophages or Gator cells here to phagocytize the myelin debris and other components of necrotic tissue. Eventually, the parenchymal cells are completely lysed and phagocytized. The brain cells, in this case, let's assume they are completely liquefied and gone. All that remains is the vasculature, okay, the blood supply basically, with the intervening spaces that are partially filled with lipid and debris laden Gitter cells or macrophages, right? In organs or tissues outside the central nervous system, liquefactive necrosis is most commonly encountered as a part of pyogenic bacteria, pus-forming bacterial infection, okay, with suppurative inflammation and is observed at the center of the abscess or other collections of neutrophils. Okay, pyogenic bacteria also causes the same thing. That's not a part of central nervous system or brain. Okay. Here we can see they are all melting away. The cells are all gone. Yeah, you can see a pale zone where there is no cells. Yeah. Yeah, pale zone of the cerebral cortex. Okay. Yeah, loss of parenchyma. All that remains is the vasculature. Okay. The last part, guys, for today. Moist gangrene, dry gangrene, gas gangrene. So gangrenous necrosis, what does it even mean? First, let's see the image so that we get a picture. Wow. Dark, reddish, black. So a wet gangrene, A is a wet gangrene and B is a dry gangrene, okay? Sure. B, okay, this is a mammary gland of a sheep. Wow, so these are the teats, by the way. So this entire mammary gland is having gangrene. Wow. Because of the staphylococcal infection causing gangrenous mastitis in Eve, female sheep. Okay, dry gangrene. And then dry gangrene, let me check if the stream is good. Nice. So dry gangrene on the digits of an ox, vasoconstriction happens from ergoid alkaloids produced by the endophyte infected feces grass caused this ischemic necrosis. Okay, it looks like some kind of a plant that produces the ergot alkaloid. Ergot is like produced by certain plants as a toxic substance in the distal aspects of the hind limb. Wow. One of the claws is also lost during the process, if you can see here. Yeah, so moving on. So moist gangrene, area of necrotic tissue. Okay, the so area of necrotic tissue starting with coagulative necrosis and then degraded by liquefactive action. In this case, the only difference is the liquefactive necrosis is done by saprophytic bacteria that leads to a formation of putrefaction, basically rot. Examples include extremity with tight bandages, segment of intestines, and lung lobe. Grossly soft, moist, reddish. Okay, as we saw, right? Reddish brown to black tissue, soft, moist. That's the wet one or the moist one. Okay, here. Gas bubbles form, putrid odor comes out of it. Microscopically, initially areas of coagulative necrosis with few proliferating bacteria and liquefaction. Okay, you can see bacteria forming and along with liquefaction and gas bubble formation. Okay, so it starts with coagulative necrosis, which causes the death of the cells, and then followed by liquefaction by the saprophytic bacteria, which causes putrefaction. Okay. Dry gangrene is coagulative necrosis secondary to infarction. So what is infarction? I have just googled that thing in ChatGPT. So infarction is the death of a tissue by lack of blood supply, and demarcation means kind of a way body separates the healthy and infected parts. In this case, infarction means death of a tissue by lack of blood supply caused by blockage or obstruction. Okay, dry gangrene can be seen in tail, ears, and udder. Okay, so coagulative necrosis secondary to infarction, and which is followed by mummification. Okay, caused by intoxication by ergot, fescue poisoning, or cold. Grossly, tissue is shriveled dry, brown to black once again. Affected parts may slug. Gas gangrene caused by anaerobic bacteria proliferating in the necrotic tissue. Okay, in this one, liquefied bacteria and the saprophytic bacteria, liquefaction by saprophytic bacteria, gas gangrene is by anaerobic bacteria on the necrotic tissue. Example is Clostridium, the best example for anaerobic bacteria. Clostridium perfringens and Clostridium septicum, which causes brachy in sheep. So yeah, penetrating wounds also cause this. Grossly, once again, dark to black with gas bubbles, fluid exudate that may contain blood. Gas bubbles, red to black, dark brown to black. Microscopically, coagulative necrosis followed by serohemorrhagic exudate and gas bubble formation. Gas bubble formation, one of the things, and is caused by anaerobic bacteria, and then it can also be due to penetrating wounds. And yeah, dry gangrene is basically through ergot and fescue poisoning. I don't know what's fescue. Let's see. Also known as fescue toxicosis. Okay, it's a condition primarily affecting livestock and sheep. Okay. When they consume tall fescue grass infected with endophytic fungus called neotypodium. Okay. So that's it, guys, for today. It's ergot, and this is caused by a plant basically. Here anaerobic, here is caused by saprophytic bacteria causing putrefaction. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we finished 2 presentations in 2 days. That's nice. Thank you so much.